If you are considering a print-on-demand store with Etsy or Shopify or anywhere else, you've probably heard of three big suppliers and wondered what's actually better between Gelato, Printify, and Printful. And in this video, I decided to set out and figure out that answer for you. Now, this is not a sponsored video. I received no compensation for this whatsoever, and I'm going to purchase some samples in this video with my own money to evaluate the shipping time, the quality, the price, and anything else I think you need to know, especially fundamental differences between these three suppliers, to help you decide which one's actually the best one for your business. Now, with that said, we have a lot to talk about in this video. Gelato and Printful and Printify all work in very different ways, and with that, you have different selections of products, you have different qualities of prints, and you have different options available in all of them. So I decided to analyze two popular products and order samples of those, but we'll cover a lot of other ones as well. I've used these in the past in different tutorials. I've ordered tons of samples from all of these, and so I have a pretty good idea of which ones are going to be the best, but the side-by-side comparison, I'm saving that because I think that is going to be very, very interesting. So I want to start off with the big picture. How do each of these work? Well, for print on demand, as you might know, you'll have an online store. Somebody can purchase a design from you, like a t-shirt, for example, and then your supplier actually prints it on demand. Like, they don't have inventory, you don't have inventory, nobody has inventory. They just print it as the orders are made. It's shipped out right away, and that way you don't have the constraints of a physical warehouse and printing press and everything for yourself. Instead, you can work with the supplier. But the way the suppliers work is also fundamentally different. So Printful makes everything in-house. When an order is placed, they have their own printers and they send it out. Whereas Gelato and Printify are sort of a middleman, and they have a network of their own printers that then can send it out. And there's some advantages and disadvantages with that. I'm going to talk about advantages. Of course, you have more locations, you have more countries. So in some regions, you could have faster shipping time. In other locations, maybe you have less fast shipping time. The disadvantages would be having multiple different printers means that there's more variables that you have to choose from. You can find a really good printer for really cheap, but you could just as easily find a not so great quality printer. And we'll talk about how you can actually select that later on in the video. But that's like a fundamental difference there. Gelato and Printify are sort of a middleman. Printify does their own printing in-house. So then talking about the pricing, I'll compare individual product pricing in a second, but each of these three starts off with a free plan, or at the very least a free trial, and then you can upgrade to paid plans. Printify is the most simple. So you have free one, which you can have 5 stores per account. Just basic, you set up your store, you sell everything. But if you upgrade to $29 per month, you can save up to about 20% on each product that's actually being sold. So it could save you some money if you have a large enough volume of sales. And you can have more stores per account. You can have 10 stores per account with that. And by the way, $29 per month is the monthly price. If you pay annually, I think it's like $25 per month or something like that. Gelato then has a much more comprehensive pricing structure where you have the free plan forever. It's always free, which is great. You have Gelato Plus, which is $24 per month. And this is going to give you that discount. It's kind of a common theme we're seeing here. You're getting about 10% off for some products, not all products, but 10% off for some products. But they also give you some other cool advantages here as well, like premium mockups, meaning if you make a t-shirt design, they can mock it up on a model, like a human wearing that, and it looks very realistic. That way you don't have to take the photos yourself. Like, I've seen the premium mockups, and I think they do a really good job. You also have the ability to use stock images and graphics and icons on your designs if you're into that. I usually just make my designs over on like Canva or something like that anyway, but if you like making it in-house on their own software, it's pretty easy to do. Additionally, you have branded labels and branded inserts when you upgrade to Gelato Plus. So you can have a little card in there saying, thank you for your business, here's 10% off your next order, and kind of, get some more sales going like that. And of course, you have some expansion tools as well. But moving up from there, the next one's much more expensive. Gelato Gold is $119 per month. So that's obviously meant for larger businesses operating at scale. And with that, you're getting up to 15% off per product you're actually ordering, 30% off branding prices, and you can have smart pricing for shipping depending on where your end customer is actually located. And then of course we have Platinum. That's going to be like the custom one for larger enterprises that are really using this at a massive scale. And like I said, this is a comprehensive, like there's a lot of different plans here. They actually have a little tool like right above the pricing that you can click, like how many sales do you have per month? And you can say 0, 5, 10, whatever, and they'll recommend what they would consider to be the best plan for you. And then of course we have Printful's pricing. So Printful does things very differently. So they have two options you can get that are like a premium plan option, and you can pay for them, or you can earn your spot in them if you drive enough revenue. So what I mean by this is you can start off with just not paying anything. That's totally fine. You can make your store starting off like that. Then you can go to the growth plan, which is $24.99 per month. Or if you make $12,000 in revenue over the past 12 months, then you can get that for free. You don't have to pay $25 per month, which is kind of a cool incentive and kind of a nice savings. If you're getting like $12,000 in sales per year, I think that's pretty nice. And with that, you're getting 20% off DTG, which is direct to garment printing, 30% off other printing styles, free digitization for non-embroidery. There's a little catch right there. You have unlimited stores, which is really awesome. You didn't see that with Printify, for example. And you have 7% off product branding discount as well. So if you want to have the branding in there, that's a little bit cheaper here. And then the business plan, if you have $60,000 worth of sales per year, you can get in here. You're getting slightly better discounts and now free digitization on embroidery as well, which is nice. I'll talk about that feature in a second because I think that feature is really nice. Their digitization is different than everyone else. Like there actually is a human reviewing that, and I think it does reflect in the quality in the end. All right, so with that being said, let's actually get into the product selection. I mentioned this is not a sponsored video, but at the end, if you decide you like one of these, we do have tutorials on all of them, and I do have affiliate links with all of them as well. So if you feel this information was helpful, then when you go to make your store at absolutely no extra cost to you, you could choose to go through our affiliate link, and that will help to fund videos like this. So to check out the product selection, let's start off with Printify. And I'm going to go to santrelmedia.com/Printify. So santrelmedia.com/Printify will take you to this page. You can say start for free. You can create your account then. And once you have your account, we can go over to catalog to check out all the different products they have and the pricing. As you can see, having so many different suppliers out there, they have access to a lot of different products as well. So not just like a lot of different t-shirts, as you can see here, a ton of different t-shirts, but also like a ton of different categories of products in general, like swimwear or skirts and dresses or sportswear, baby clothing. Like you've got a lot of options here. Coffee category, like literally just branding coffee, which is pretty cool if you're trying to white label that. There are a ton of different products on here, accessories, home and living. And so that's going to be one of the biggest benefits of Printify. I recommend just like visiting all three of these in the end or just kind of browsing through, depending on what your design is that you're trying to sell. Maybe one of these three, maybe Printify, for example, is just going to have an option that the others just don't have. But you can see here, this is absolutely going to be a huge advantage. So going one step further, let's say the first product that we want to compare between all three of these is going to be a Gildan 5000 t-shirt, an incredibly common t-shirt that you see pretty much everywhere. And I know all three definitely will have that. If we go to t-shirts, we can go down and right there, the Gildan 5000 cotton tee. And one thing you want to note here is that this is the price range. You can see it starts at $9.08, but we can go down here and see, well, first of all, $6.92 if you upgrade to Printify Premium. Remember I said you can get about 20% discount. That's a pretty nice discount there on a t-shirt. You can see the shipping is $4.29. They have 25 different colors available. You can print on the front side and the back side. Others, as we'll talk about in a second, can print on other locations as well, not just front and back. So a little bit of a limitation there, but we will be able to choose our supplier as well. So if I click on show additional providers right there, it's almost a hidden button. So they have their default one that they like to recommend, and you can see the provider info right here. They'll tell you a little bit more about it. But if I go to show additional providers, you can see the location of them. So you want to make sure you're choosing one that is the right price, the right quality, the right reviews, and most importantly, in the right country. So you don't want to have to go through customs for every single shirt that you're selling unless you're okay with waiting like 30 days for a product to arrive. So right here, Monster Digital is the one that we see on the top. There's a bulk discount available. 9.6 stars is really high. It's in the United States. And you can see what our pricing is right there. So that's pretty nice. 32 colors with this one as well. But if you wanted to go down, you could potentially sort these by Printify ranking, which is what they're doing. You can look at production time, who's the fastest. You could look at the lowest price here. So the lowest price is actually giving you $9.70. Not really a huge difference in the price there. But regardless, I'm going to go with the default one that Printify is recommending on the very top. Okay, so $9.08. Remember that. We're going to go to the next one. All right, so now going to the next supplier, let's go to santrelmedia.com/Gelato. and that'll take you to this page. We can say get offer. By the way, you don't have to go through our affiliate links, of course. If you choose to, we do have a special offer that you can get 50% off your first order with Gelato. So just kind of, if you're going to do it, you might as well go through the link, get your first order at half price so you can get your samples and see what they actually look like. So now we are going to click sign up. All right, so then once you get to the dashboard on Gelato, on the left side, we can go to product catalog. And you can see here we have slightly fewer options available compared to Printify. So not quite as overwhelming, but within each one, you can still see we have all the staples. We've got men's clothing, women's clothing, within each one, like t-shirts, hoodies, long sleeve shirts, sportswear, as well as some other categories as well, like mugs, tote bags, wall art. If you're trying to sell maybe like your own art and you want to sell your, maybe your drawings or your paintings or something, or just your own graphic designs on posters or on metal framed posters, you could do all of that. We've got hats down here. I will be doing a hat in just a second, as well as photo books, mugs, and different things like that. So let's go back and compare the price again for the Gildan 5000. So let's go to men's t-shirts. If we go down, we should see Gildan 5000, there it is, Gildan 5000 right here. And so we could see this is actually slightly cheaper. So $8.38. So $8.38 with $4.66 of shipping compared to Printify, which was $9.08 and $4.29 shipping. So it's $13.04 total from Gelato. And if you look over here, that is $13.37, I believe. I don't know if $13.37 is the price here. So a little bit more expensive, a couple cents more expensive. And now let's go to the third one, being Printful. So again, santrelmedia.com/printful, and that'll take you to Printful's dashboard. Here you can make an account. I already am signed in rather. So it'll probably bring you to like a sign in page, enter your email, make your account. And then from here, once again, on the left side, we can go to product catalog. Now, Printful, I would say, has a pretty large variety of products. They don't have quite as many as Printify, but if you look at like men's clothing, for example, we have, quite a big selection here of shorts and pants and like men's leggings. Like you can really do a huge variety of different products, as well as those other things, like I said, home and living accessories. You can have coasters and tumblers, magnets, all types of different things. So like I said, if you're trying to make something that is very unique, like maybe a specific frame for some wall art or like a specific kind of mug, check out all three. They probably all have different products in that realm, but looking at the basics like t-shirts, for example, if I go back to men's clothing, go to t-shirts, let's check out the price on this from Printful. So Gildan 5000 right there. Like I said, I usually like to compare that because it's just everywhere. Like everybody sells it. Here we have embroidery or direct to garment printing. I'm going to stick with DTG so we have a consistent comparison. We have whatever that is, like 20 something colors, $9.25, so a little bit more expensive here. And the shipping, we have to, I think, calculate the shipping. No, shipping starts at $4.69. So this one is definitely going to be the most expensive out of the three. But let's actually go and make some orders with all of these and see how they actually compare. So since we're on Printful, let's just kind of continue with Printful here and talk about the design tools available. Okay, so on Printful, I'm going to choose a black t-shirt. We're going to select the size, and we could start a new order or create a product template. I'm just going to start a new order, and I can do a basic order right here or test design. So we're getting a sample 30% off right here. I'm just going to go with that. You can do that, I think, like maybe once per month or something, maybe twice per month. But I'm going to do it right now with this account. So let's go and start making the design. I'm going to use the same exact design, the same file. Again, DTG, black t-shirt, still size large. I'm going to upload, and I'm going to upload a new file right here. And this is going to be, let's see if we can find that same file. Click and drag it. Once you have the file, you can click apply, and that'll just drop it right on your shirt. You can relocate this, and like I said, these tools are going to be familiar on all of them. They have a lot of similarities, but what I like about Printful is you can print on the front, the back, the outside label, inside label, left and right sleeve. Like you can really do any kind of printing you want on basically any product out there. In addition, on the left side, you can see we've got like text and clip art, quick designs, some premium options down there as well. And you could just change like some fill colors. There's a lot of cool things. Fiverr kind of links up really well also if you wanted to hire someone to do the design. But if we go back to layers, everything looks good. Print quality, 276 DPI is definitely more than enough. And let's go and generate the file. So you can see here it says $9.25. Yeah, so we can continue shipping with this one in just a second. All right, so on Gelato, we have a ton of different colors, a bunch of different sizes. We can go down here and you can do embroidery or direct to garment. I'm going to do DTG for all of these just so we have, a consistent comparison. I'm going to choose a size. You can choose any color you want. I'm going to go with probably, royal blues. I don't know. I think let's kind of be consistent here. Let's make it a black shirt for all of these. I'm going to say start designing them. So on the left side, if you click on product, we can change to a black shirt. You can change the color to whatever you want. And going down the left side, we can do all types of things. If I click on files, I can upload a new file. So I can just click on choose file. So choose file right here. And then I can upload a file that I created, like I said, over on Canva or anywhere that you made a file, maybe on Photoshop or something. Then once you upload the file, you can just click on it, or you can click and drag it. It'll bring it over to the garment, just a draft. I don't know, I wanted to choose a design that had a lot of color in it, and kind of was not especially easy to print, so we can really see what the differences really are between them. So going through, you can see we're getting 50% off our first order. First order is going to be $4.19. So kind of nice when you're just kind of trying out different samples, different orders, different products. You can actually save a little bit of money in getting your product, because I think no matter what, even if you know your supplier, I think it's helpful to just order it and see it for yourself to know what's actually like going to the customer, how it looks when you're actually wearing it, and so you can take your own photos and use it on your own social media as well. Now looking at Printify, I found the shirt that I wanted. Like I said, I'm going to go to start designing. I don't need to take a tour. It's going to try to make me take a tour anyway. So this is a much more rudimentary designer, I would say, where like the t-shirt is just an outline. You can see kind of strange, doesn't look realistic at all. But I'm going to choose the file that we had before. On the left side, you can still see there's like AI image, add text, my library, graphics, templates, and some Shutterstock stuff. So I'm going to, so you can see front and back side. I'm just going to put this on the front side. We can select a variant here. So I don't need white and I do want black. So I'm going to make this a black t-shirt, save product, and that looks good. So now I could continue to publish here, say continue to, or actually just create a sample order. That's what I'm trying to do, create a sample order. And then we can just select our size and we can place this order as well. So I checked out on all three of those products right now, but I want to test out another product as well. I want to try embroidering, right? So DTG is great, and that's going to be a big part of what most people are selling with print on demand, t-shirts and sweatshirts and stuff. But let's say you wanted to do something else that was embroidered, maybe a hat, for example. So I'm going to order 3 different hats. Hats are a little interesting because you don't have the same selection on all of them. So on Printify, if I go over to hats, we have kind of 5 options here. One of them's a beanie, one of them's a bucket hat, and then really only 3 baseball caps. 2 of them have leather patches on them as well. So we kind of just have one option. If you're in the US market, at least more options if you're looking at all markets. But now over on Printful, I'm going to go to add another product. I'm going to navigate to hats, and you can see we have a lot of selections here actually for hats, surprisingly, quite a few. And I want the Yupong 6606, I believe. So that's a hat I've actually ordered in the past. I really do. I like that hat. It's pretty reliable, but we could also check out like some snapbacks, some closed backs, some camouflages like trucker hats, foam trucker hats, retro hats, a lot of different options. I'm going to go with this one right here. You can see we have about a dozen different colors, and all of these pretty nice. You can drop in your embroidery right in the middle. So I'm just going to use the Santrel logo. I'm going to put this on, let's see, maybe we want to do gray and black, khaki. We've got like a green and khaki. We've got white. I guess they call it moss and khaki right here. And now over on Gelato, let's go to hats, and we can go to hats in the US. And you can see they have 4 categories of hats, which is nice. I'm going to go to trucker hats. We have 2 different ones. And there's the 6606. That's a hat I was looking for, which I think is basically exactly what we want right here. So I'm going to select that one. We have about a dozen different colors, so very similar right here. Maybe slightly different colors, but I think most of them do look the same to me. We've got like khaki and khaki, silver. So I'm going to go with this design right here, moss and khaki. That doesn't look like moss to me. It looks more maroon, but I'm going to upload our file. I'm going to choose it from my device. I'm just going to choose like a monochromatic, just a white Santrel logo. I'm going to drop it in here, And we want this to be an embroidery, which it doesn't really give me options. I'm fairly certain this is going to be an embroidery. You can see thread colors on the top. This is an embroidery right here. We could resize it. We could save this as a template as well. And it kind of shows you right there. There's a preview of what it's going to look like. Let's make that a little bit bigger, kind of fitting in the hat right here. So you can see the tools seem very easy to use, very intuitive, much like a t-shirt design, even though this is an embroidery. So I kind of like how that's set up. It shows you approximately what the threads are going to do. I think that looks good. That's clean. That's exactly what I want. You can see right here, we do have 15 different thread colors we can choose from. As soon as you click off of it, it's going to kind of show it as if it were a real thread. It kind of renders it, but I'm going to stick with white for this. I think this looks better on this hat anyway. Now back to Printful, I'm going to select brown and khaki. I wanted moss and khaki, but I think brown and khaki is probably the closest one I'm going to get, so we can get a decent comparison here. Now I'm just going to click on upload design. I'm going to upload a new file. We're going to drop in the logo right here, and the logo's there. Now you can zoom in on this. You can see what it looks like. This looks very, very similar to the Gelato version. So I think these are probably going to be very, very similar in the final product. Back to Printify here. I'm just going to go to this one, the low profile baseball cap. It's not the same one I was looking for, so it's not going to be a perfect one-to-one comparison. But let's check this one out. I'm going to upload a design. We're going to upload that same logo here. It shows its production cost, $14.49. Let's go to my library, drop in the logo in the middle. We can choose the variants. Let's change that. I don't want a white hat. We're going to go with maybe like a navy blue hat, so it kind of pops out a little bit better. And again, this is like a really rudimentary design tool here, so it doesn't even show a rendering of the hat. It just shows like a doodle of a hat basically. So on Printify, that is a little disappointing that you don't have the best. I mean, you do get some mock-ups here. You can go to mock-up view and it shows you kind of what your hat's going to look like. But again, I don't know if I really trust this much. Let's see what it looks like. Yeah, so that's showing what it is. It's bright and colorful. We can also switch over to realistic, make it look more realistic. I don't know why it wouldn't be in realistic by default. Yeah, so I don't know. Let's go with that. All right, so I'm going to save the product. We're going to go with that, and we'll place an order for this one as well. So looking at the costs here on Printify for that hat, you're looking at $14.49, also $7.49 in shipping, so $21.98 for that one hat. Then on Printful, you can see it is $14.50. We're getting a little discount. Over on Gelato, it's $13.10, but on the first order, half price, $6.55. There is going to be a digitization fee as well because I don't have the most premium plan, as we talked about earlier, and it's about $5 usually for that. But once you start having more orders, that's like a one-time fee. All right, so product selection. There are a lot of options on Printify, sometimes better options on Gelato and Printful though, depending on what you're looking for. Hats, for me in particular, I like the other two. The ease of setup, UI, and sample orders. Again, Gelato and Printful both had a really intuitive designer, in my opinion, to drag and drop everything over, see kind of the mock-up in real time of what it looks like, whereas Printify was more of like a doodle you had to put things on. I get that it's kind of meant to be a little bit cheaper, and so it's kind of okay, but at the same time, I prefer the other two without having to, always have to put it in there and then save it and then see a mock-up. It just more realistic in real time when you're working with Gelato and with Printful. And then of course the sample orders, we talked about the pricing. They were all very competitive. Like the t-shirt, Gelato was the cheapest. The hats, kind of hard to compare because Printify didn't have the same hat, but all like really competitive pricing across the board on those. All right, so we got these samples in. Let's talk about the shipping time, the overall process, the packaging and things like that. And I'll talk about the quality as well. Starting off, I ordered all of them at the same time. Printify shipped 2 days later and arrived 4 days after that. So 6 days total from the time I ordered it to the time it actually arrived. I think that's pretty reasonable. It's also very quick. Gelato, I ordered it. 3 days later it shipped. 4 days later, it arrived. So the shipping is pretty consistent across all of these. Gelato took 1 extra day to make it on these samples right here, but who knows, other samples, 1 day is kind of a margin of error there, so I can't really guarantee which one would arrive faster or slower between those. Printful, however, had an interesting extra step, and I believe that's only because this was the first order I placed for this design here. So they reviewed it the next day. I got an email saying, hey, we have a suggestion to change the hat that you ordered. Remember, it was an embroidery. So they do a review in-house, like an actual person looking at this, and they suggested that I had like 2 different thread colors kind of filling the middle of the logo instead of the empty space. I said I don't really want like a different color thread there didn't look good to me. So I said, can we just leave that as a blank space? And then it took them one more day to revise it. And they said, here's a new design of what we think it could look like, where the threads are going to go to make it look as good as possible. And so then I said, that looks good. It dispatched the following day. And then 4 days after that, it actually arrived. So that took a total time of 7 days, maybe actually 8 days if I counted that correctly. But I would expect that if you didn't have that little review process, it would probably arrive in about 5 to 6 days. So very competitive on the time for all of these. Again, with Printify, it really depends on which supplier you are selecting. But I think the delivery time, order your own samples and test this yourself. But I think that I'm seeing a pretty consistent delivery time with all of these. Going back to that Printify or the Printful embroidery hold, you can see right here an email I had with them. It was really nice to talk to an actual person and get that order kind of sorted out. And I think looking at these samples, I'll show them on camera, but it's probably easier just to look at this right here. So looking at the hats, first of all, we have the Gelato hat right here. This one looks really good. I like the material, the build quality, like the hat. It's a good hat. I already knew I was going to like the hat. But the embroidery, you can see, is exactly where I placed it. The stitching looks consistent. You can see, like, it looks exactly like I designed it. I can't complain. It's exactly what I designed it to do, and I think it looks good like that. Now talking about Printful, this is the one that they kind of revised the design on. It looks like not quite a perfect circle with how the stitching did this, but I really like how there's an outline in stitching for the overall circle as well as for the inner part of the logo. So I think that one looks like it's really nice to have clean edges all the way around. I think that if Gelato just added that one little touch to this design, and maybe they could in the future, then that would be absolutely perfect. The stitching is really competitive in both of them. I can't really say one's better than the other, but because we were able to modify that design, I really do like the hat from Printful. Printify, however, I didn't realize this when I was ordering it. It's not even embroidered. It's just like a DTG, really tiny little logo. Like, it did an okay job, but I would never. This is why it's important to order samples. I would never want to sell this. This just like feels cheap of like printing on there. I wasn't particularly happy with that. But talking about the t-shirts, this is really interesting. So all three of these, again, Gildan 5000, printed from different places, completely different prints. But I found that they all did a really good job. Like, they had all the different colors. It's kind of hard to see in these photos, or hard to capture in photos. But looking at them side by side, they had really consistent colors. None of them had any kind of weird boundaries or missed ink anywhere on here. Yeah, I would say like the vibrancy and the color accuracy was pretty consistent across all of them. Some of them were slightly more vibrant. Like, this kind of just came down to like just different printers. Everything seems to be very consistent with quality. Like, if I gave you all three of these shirts and said these are all from the same supplier, I think most people would struggle to identify really any differences and probably would not argue with me. Realistically looking at them, I think that you might see, slight differences in saturation, but really no defects on them. I was very happy with all three of these, which means I would probably just look at which one had the best price within a reasonable shipping time, which in this case would have been Gelato. So for these three shirts, I would have chosen Gelato to actually use on the store. Talking about the benefits of each of these in particular, because I said Gelato would be my choice for the t-shirt and Printful would be my choice for the hat. Talk about the benefits of each of them. The benefits of Gelato, one thing I didn't mention earlier in the video is you do actually have Personalization Studio on Gelato. So what you're able to do is make a personalizable shirt entirely. So whether that is for like bachelorette parties, maybe it is a mug that you want somebody to put their name on, maybe it is like some wall art where people can put their anniversary dates on there, different ways that you make your design and you allow the end user, the customer, to do their own little customization, adding their own text, adding their own like little touch on there that makes it their product. Because it is print on demand, you don't need inventory. You can totally do that. And it's cool that Gelato has that feature built into their studio. Additionally, I do have a full tutorial on all of these, but my most recent one, so technically the most up-to-date, I don't know why I'm counting this as a benefit, but my most up-to-date Shopify print-on-demand Gelato tutorial print-on-demand tutorial is using Gelato, is what I meant to say. They do have an emphasis on sustainability. They have a simple pricing structure that is very easy and intuitive. I really like their tool that helps you select the right pricing option or the right plan. They have a nice editor, easy to use software. A lot of the design process was smooth and seamless, and it just felt like I was confident in what I was going to get when I ordered it. And sure enough, when it arrived, It was exactly what I ordered, exactly what I designed, and I was happy with that. Additionally, you do have fulfillment in 32 different countries, and you're getting 50% off your first order, which at the very least makes it a good option to compare. So if you like Printful and Gelato, or Printify and Gelato, like, it's worth comparing when you're saving 50% on that. The benefits of Printful, then, you do have consistent high quality. You have that valuable design review process for embroidery, which, as I mentioned, really helped this hat look a lot better, because, you know, some human actually looked at it and said, hey, it's better if we do it like this, you know, change the stitching on there. They have fairly fast production times, unlimited colors on embroidery as well, and of course you can do DTG or DTF printing options, so kind of cool to have more options on here. And you can also combine embroidery with DTG as well on some products if that's what you're looking for. They do have fewer printing facilities as well though, so keep that in mind for shipping times, but they are more likely to ship in the same package, which could potentially save you some significant money on your overall shipping costs and stuff like that. The benefits of Printify, then, you have a massive library of a lot of different products you can choose from. You have a lot of different suppliers to choose from as well, so you can test out different ones, find the best one that is closest to you, that is closest to your customers, and would cost, you know, looks reliable, but also costs as little as possible. I think it's great for testing a lot of different products. If you want to have a large library on your store, Printify is not a bad option. And sometimes they can be cheaper if you are finding the right supplier there. So that's my analysis of all three of these. Honestly, they've come a long way over the years, and they are all very, very competitive right now. But let me know which one you like the best in the comments down below. Now, I kind of hate watching videos where at the end they kind of say, it depends, and they don't give you an answer. So I'll do my best to give an answer here. If you're doing embroidery, I think Printful is your best option. If you're looking for obscure products that might not be like t-shirt, mug, hat, then Printify has some good options. Gelato, I think, was the best option for t-shirts with the most competitive pricing, and just a very nice intuitive builder. And they also have the personalization studio, which is also why I like using them. So that's my recommendation. Really, the best option for you is to just at least choose two of these three, place a sample order, and see for yourself what your specific design actually looks best on. So I don't know what I'm going to do with these giraffe t-shirts now, but I hope you found this video helpful. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed it, consider subscribing. I'm Michael Bryan with Santrel Media, and I'll see you in the full tutorial that I have linked down below for your print-on-demand store.